In this video, we're going to be going over the top 15 watches that you can get for under £5,000. Welcome back to the Chisholm Hunter channel. My name is Harrison, as always. And before we start this video, please bear in mind that these watches are all under £5,000. Now, there is kind of a spread to cover a lot of different categories and a lot of different styles. However, they're all under your intended budget. The way that we're going to do it is go from number 15 all the way down to 1. This is in no particular order. However, I have saved some pretty hot watches until the end. This watch definitely caught my eye recently, and not only my eye, but it actually caught the world's eye. It recently won the GPHG award, and there's a couple of different variants of this model that you can choose between. There's the silver dial with that silvery kind of leather strap, and that, of course, is the one that won that award. And then you have a black dial with a black leather strap, you have a gold cased silver dial with a brown leather strap, and also a blue dial. My personal favorite is actually the one that won the award, is the silver dial. This model comes in at £1,695 and goes, in my opinion, straight into the dress category. It comes in at 39.5mm, which is pretty damn perfect sizing, if you ask me. But where this watch really stands out is in the thickness of this model. It comes in at 10.25mm, and this is super thin, super elegant, and super dressy. It sits really close to the wrist and kind of gives it a more vintage-esque feel. Now, people within the industry, the watch industry, are categorically going for smaller watches. That's just kind of the trend that we can see at the moment. So this will appeal to a lot more people, and it definitely appeals to me. With that said, I don't like the leather strap. This watch also is fully automatic and has a 38-hour power reserve. To top that off, it actually has glass box sapphire crystal glass, which plays into that vintage theme. But I could honestly talk about this watch all day, but it's not about this watch in particular, so let's move on. Next on the list, coming in at number 14, we have the new Longines HydroConquest GMT, coming in at £2,750. This watch comes in a couple of different varieties. You have green, black, brown, or blue, and I know what you're thinking. The brown? What the hell is that? But actually, it looks pretty good. This model comes in at 41mm, of course, is a GMT model, so it gives you GMT functionality. If you travel the world, if you travel for business, GMT functionality is really useful. It saves me from calling my parents at 2 in the morning their time. It also comes in at 12.90mm in thickness, so it is a little bit thicker than I would like, but it is technically a diving watch. And there's been tons of upgrades since the last Longines HydroConquest. I mean, they upgraded that clasp as well as the bracelet and a ton of other stuff. It just looks great. And for the money, it's almost unbeatable. At number 13, and by the way, before we actually go on to number 13, I just want to say I've kind of added a ton of different watches at a ton of different price points here. And this is to help and fit everyone's budget. You know, there's a watch for everyone. As I was saying, the next watch is the TAG Heuer Professional Aquaracer GMT 300 meters. As well as being a fully functional diver, this of course is a GMT model. Now it is a little bit bigger on the wrist. It does come in at 43mm in diameter. However, I feel like TAG Heuer's styling when it comes to their Aquaracers, actually in general across the range, is just brilliant. I mean, they single-handedly almost get younger people into the watch industry, and that's something that you need to respect. This comes in at £3,400, so yeah, we are getting a little bit more expensive now, but it is a TAG Heuer, and a lot of what you pay for in the world nowadays is branding. I hate to say it. Now, the one I would suggest is the one with the bracelet, the blue dial, and the blue and white bezel. I think that fits the population overall better. Now, if I were to pick, I would pick something different, but I think this generalizing would be the most popular model. Coming in at number 12, we have the Tudor Black Bay 58, coming in at £3,450. So it's still underneath that £5,000 budget, but you get a Tudor for that money, and also it's COSC certified. Let's talk about some of the specs. This watch comes in at 39mm in diameter, has Tudor's very own in-house movement, which of course is COSC certified. It has a closed case back, which isn't for me, but Tudor have always kind of kept to closed case backs, to be fair. It has 70 hours of power and goes to 200 meters of water resistance. Now, this watch is a super popular watch, and it's super popular for a reason, because it's aesthetically pretty damn perfect. They've used just the right amount of color, of pop, of red, but not overdone it. It's almost like a more fun Submariner. At number 11, we have another GMT model. However, this one only comes in 50 quid under 5k at 4,950. It is the Breitling Chronomat GMT, coming in at 40 millimeters. Coming in at 40 millimeters and 11.7 millimeters in thickness, and also having a water resistance of 200 meters, this watch kind of fits firmly in the hybrid category. It's very, very versatile. You could wear this watch with a suit and tie, but you could also wear this watch in what I'm wearing now, kind of just like a long sleeve t-shirt or a jumper. It's very, very versatile, and this is partially why I love it. Now, the one that we actually filmed and we had on the wrist was the Chronomat blue dial, the kind of baby blue, some would say Tiffany blue, and that's the one that we filmed. However, that is £1,000 more expensive than the green dial. Before we go any further, I just want to thank you guys so much. I was having a look at my stats, and the typical numbers of people that have watched these videos that haven't subscribed is around about 82%, and it was 82.9%, but now it's 82.1%. That seems small, but to me, that's huge. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel and supporting me. Yeah, let's move on. Coming in at number 10, and I'm gonna get shot for this, but I'm gonna say it. It's the Omega Seamaster 300 meters. Now, yes, I understand that this comes in at £5,300, slightly above our intended budget, but let's just say that this goes on sale somewhere. I'd get it. This comes in at 42 millimeters, of course, is a fully functional diver going to 300 meters of water resistance, is totally iconic because of that helium escape valve. It has the waves running through the dial, which gives it extra layers of depth, and comes in multiple different colors. I mean, you've got that really dark, beautiful kind of seaweed green. You've also got the black, you've got the white, the king in the industry, the blue. You've also got different variants to choose between. But the kind of long and short story is that this is pretty awesome. At number 9, we have the IWC Spitfire, and this aesthetically has a lot of similarities to the Hamilton khaki field. Apart from everything has been changed, everything has been upgraded, because obviously this is a more premium brand. It's almost like comparing a Fiat 500 to a Bentley. They, in essence, drive to the same place, but you're driving in style with the Bentley. This model comes in at £4,600. This is with the NATO strap, and it is a brilliant all-rounder of a model. It comes in at 39 millimeters, has a thickness of 10.8 millimeters, and that is super thin and super elegant and sits really nicely close to the wrist. This model has the IWC 32110 movement with 72 hours of power and 163 components. And when you're thinking about that, think about the thickness, because it's 10.8 millimeters in thickness, and that movement, that automatic movement, has been shoved into that case. That is wild. At number 8, we have the Tudor Pelagos, and actually you have two different options here in terms of sizing, but also one is slightly cheaper. You have the Tudor Pelagos 39, which comes in at around about £4,000, and then you also have the Tudor Pelagos 42, which comes in at £4,320. Both are under the 5k mark, which is absolutely fantastic, and it really just depends on which size suits you. Personally, with my 6.5-inch wrists, I would go for the 39. The 39mm Pelagos actually won the GPHG awards, which is pretty cool, as well as that Raymond Weil, which is absolutely awesome. Of course, it comes in at 32mm in diameter and also has a grade 2 titanium case and bracelet. Now, this thing is really, really lightweight and gives it a more dark aesthetic on the wrist. It honestly is awesome. This watch is waterproof to 200 meters, comes in a pure black color, which plays wonderfully into that dark aesthetic, and also has the manufacturer caliber MT5400, which which is COSC certified and has roughly 70 hours of power. Now, Tudor as a brand has a huge amount of hype around it, and it hasn't earned that hype overnight. It has hype because they are fantastic to wear. Trust me. At number 7, we have the Breitling Superocean Heritage B20 automatic 42mm variant. That is a mouthful. This model, of course, is a little bit bigger, coming in at 42mm. However, it is a diving watch going to 200 meters of water resistance. Now, it also has a mesh bracelet on it. I've never been a huge fan of the mesh bracelets, but what really surprised me was when the James Bond Omega Seamaster came out, that mesh bracelet really struck a chord with people. People seem to really, really like it. So, I don't know, I'm trying to be objective here. Now, this is a chunky boy coming in at 14.3mm in thickness. It also comes in at 4,500 pounds, so it's just under that 5,000 pound mark. The green dial is pretty damn incredible, and it does have a 6 o'clock date window, which makes the symmetry of it just makes it good. At number 6, we have a diving watch made of German submarine steel. That's awesome. It is the Sinn U50. This is a brand that we don't talk about enough, a German brand we don't talk about enough, and honestly, I've been kind of going into a little bit of a rabbit hole. Now, this isn't for everyone, but let me talk about it for 2 seconds. This comes in at 41mm in diameter and has a really unique case design. I mean, the bezel with those kind of pretty aggressive teeth and also being a little bit more chunky, it looks quite German, I have to say, but that's a good thing. Now, they've used a ton of red within this face and also on the bezel, which is awesome. And also, the crown is at around about the 4 o'clock mark, which makes this watch very unique. Now, as I say, this isn't for everyone. I mean, the Omega Seamaster has a helium escape valve. Some people hate it. I personally love it. It's just the way that watches go. The movement in this watch is the SW300-1. This is totally self-winding, has 25 joules, and beats at a frequency of 28,800 VPH. Now, if we actually look at the aesthetics of this watch, it has sapphire crystal glass on the front, and it actually has anti-reflective coating on both sides. Some would say that's a negative, but others would say it's a positive. Totally up to you. I suppose it will scratch a little bit easier, but also it'll look better before it does. This watch comes in at £2,410, and I would honestly suggest anyone on this channel to take a look at it. To be perfectly honest, guys, I've been kind of steering away from the normal watches that I normally have a fascination with and going for more weird, wonderful watches like the Sinn U50 or like Studio Underdog's watches. I've been kind of getting more into micro brands, but I suppose I'll save that for another video. At number 5, we have the Panerai Radiomir Officine, and this is a beautiful Italian brand. Starting with the price, this comes in at £4,700. However, bear in mind that this is a chunky monkey. It is a big Bertha. It doesn't skip breakfast. It comes in at 45mm. However, I do feel that that's kind of accustomed to Panerai's DNA. They historically have supplied larger, bigger, bulkier watches, and we can see that when we look at Sylvester Stallone. The one that I have chosen is the white dial. Now, this has a dark green aesthetic and flecks and splashes to it, including the kind of calf skin leather strap bracelet, which looks amazing. The Italians just know how to dress. They genuinely do. Their style is just way ahead of everyone else. The Italians. The movement in this model is the P6000, and this is a manual wound movement, which makes it even cooler. I mean, can you imagine, you've just flown to Milan, you're getting your morning espresso, you're sipping on the espresso, and then you whip out your wrist and wind up your watch. That's awesome. At number 4, we have the Cartier Tank Must Watch, and this is a total icon in the industry, a total icon to watch enthusiasts and also people that just like jewelry. It is the Cartier Tank Must Watch. I've already said that. The Cartier Tank Must Watch has a pretty damn iconic squared off shape or rectangled off shape. And the case dimensions come in at 33.7mm times 25.5mm, and the thickness is pretty amazing at only 6.6 millimeters. With that said, there is a downfall to this watch. It's a quartz watch. This comes in full stainless steel, and it comes in at £3,700. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why would I buy this model that's quartz when I could buy an automatic model? And I suppose I can't give you the answer to that. Some people just like branding. They enjoy a nice pair of shoes, even though they do exactly what the other pair of shoes, the cheaper pair of shoes, would do. It's Cartier. At number 3, we have a brand that we haven't really talked about a lot again. We have the Junghans Max Bill Chronoscope Bahus. This watch is kind of like the Apple of the watch world. It's very clean in aesthetic. There's not much that stands out about it, but there's also not much that blends in about it. It just is very clean. It reminds me a little bit of Nomos Glashütte. This watch has a start-stop function, has a 30-minute and 12-hour counter, as well as a date window. It has a kind of black leather strap, which I'm not as keen on, but the face of this watch just is very aesthetically clean. It looks nice to me. It looks stripped back. It looks like they've just gone back to basics, and I like that. The dial is matte white, which actually kind of complements, although I'm not as keen on it, complements that black strap, and it comes in at 40 millimeters in diameter. With that said, because it has no bezel, it looks a little bit wider than you might think. I would actually say it looks more like 41 or 42 when you actually get it on the wrist. At number 2, we have the Tudor Black Bay Chrono. For those of you wanting a Chrono model, this is one of the best models for under £5,000, and it comes in at £4,790. Now, the model that I've picked out specifically has the stainless steel bracelet and has a panda face, so it's white with black sub-dials, and my God, it looks good. This watch comes in at 41 millimeters, has little splashes of red, which makes it just look that little bit more handsome, that little bit more striking. It has screw-down crowns and pushers, which is kind of not great, if I'm being honest, from what I prefer. It's kind of annoying when you want to start-stop a Chrono model and you have to unscrew the crown or the pusher first. That's just my preference, though. The movement in this model is the MT5813, and this is COSC certified. And this model, when it was released, and I'm sure there'll be more probably this year and next, but this model, when it was released, was the hyped Overwatch of the year. And there's no wonder why. It's a sexy model. At number 1, we are at the finale. The grand finale is another Tudor, and it is the Tudor Black Bay GMT. Now, you do have an option of a black dial, but you also have an option of an opaline white dial. I'm going to suggest, for my preference, the opaline white dial, because it is stunning in person. Honestly, it isn't pure white. It's kind of like when you squeeze a fresh tube of Colgate toothpaste and it has that metallic-y white sheen to it. It's beautiful. The price of this model comes in at $3,780 with the bracelet as well as the black model. So they both cost exactly the same. So whatever one you want, it's not like you're paying anything extra. It comes in at 41 millimeters, but the bezel combined with the white dial, oh, I mean, it has this beautiful red or burgundy-ish bezel with a blue, it's half and half, it's blue and red because it's a GMT model. It just, aesthetically, this watch is almost perfection. And that is all from us and also all from my coffee ration, so I'm going to have to go and get more of that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please hit that subscribe button or follow us on Instagram at Chisholm Hunter Watches. And also, we have our very own podcast, which is the Into the Mind podcast. And that's it. I'll see you soon.